Okay, the crypto market has been doing some really crazy shenanigans. I mean, we've been going down significantly, and a lot of people have been wondering what exactly is going on. Now, you might also wonder, why am I sitting so odd? It was because I was trying to show you all the view, because it's the 113th floor or so over here in Hong Kong in the Ritz-Carlton, and I thought it would be kind of cool, but it's impossible, it seems. What I can show you, though, is a little bit of what's been going on in the crypto market. And the long story short, if I had to give my own opinion, is that what's happening right now is a lot manipulation and a lot of the culminating fear. I should call it the fear that's been stacking on top of stacking on top of stacking. So if you guys have noticed, very recently here, I made a video saying, hey, the market's moving in a strange fashion, and what we saw happen was all of a sudden most people over on Twitter, on YouTube, on everywhere started to get negative. Now, why did they get negative? For the most part, because Bitcoin was failing to make a new all-time high. A lot of altcoins like the AI coins and some in that field were starting to go down, and you get a little combination of, well, if we're not going up, and we don't really have any crazy exciting announcements anymore for us to look forward to, and altcoins are going down, while Bitcoin is going sideways, then the only logical reaction is downwards. And that's what people concluded. And that's also how the market kind of seemed to react. A lot of people made videos saying this is what you should do, this is what 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗓. In my opinion on the matter as well, just because there's no outspoken, clear thing as to why things should be going up, right? We don't have that one event that's supposed to shake everything. That does not mean that downwards is the most logical option. Very often it's sideways because, again, indecisiveness, but also I can see a couple of pretty beautiful signs. I mean, people looked at the Trump, Libra, and a few of those, the Bybit situation, as extractions, taking money out of our ecosystem, never to be returned. But I kind of see, even though Libra and Bybit, you could definitely say that for, I kind of see the whole Trump situation as well as a matter of, well, the freaking president of the United States just co-signed crypto. We're talking here about those reserves, etc. These are some of the craziest times we've ever seen. Now, if we're talking about, for example, these ETFs selling out, because there's a couple of articles of ETFs dropping massive amounts of Bitcoin. Partially, it actually has to do with the broader ETF buying strategy, where they're basically doing these things called hedges, and you don't need to know too much about it, but the only thing you need to understand is, even if you see a crazy outflow on a certain day, it doesn't necessarily mean they're selling. It might just mean they're changing the way their position looks. And even if it is a couple of days of crazy selling, if you compare it to all the crazy days of buying we've had, is it really that big a deal? But a good example is what Arthur Hayes said. Record outflows fit with an unwind of futures positions at CME due to basis compression. Basically what we talked about. We also had some of the craziest liquidations ever happen yesterday. As you can see here, $1.5 billion got liquidated in the market in like those past 24 hours. But one of the funny things is, when you really start looking at the altcoin market, have it really gone down that much? Well, I'd like to argue we really haven't that much. I mean, Bitcoin is still at $85,000, Ethereum is still at $2,700, XRP is still at $2.20. It is not nice to see, certainly not. I'm definitely going to have to agree with that. And the last hour here has just been carnage, with Bitcoin actually being the worst performer out of everything right here, or at least in the top little list that we can see, as Bitcoin is again on the chopping block right now. But again, when we're taking a look at some of the other altcoins like Mantra, the funny thing is with the cryptocurrencies the way we see them now, is that a couple of coins still have power to sustain themselves. XDC is still doing pretty damn good. Mantra actually is basically at all-time high levels still. And today, just looking throughout the entire day, IP is still up 40%, Quant is still up 16%, Celestia up 15%, but that's kind of stupid. And even though some coins are also down in double digits, sure, it's mostly today, then, the last hour that has been bad for. But generally speaking, most of the chopping has already been done. Now, I will counter and say one thing. Just because something's gone down a lot doesn't mean it can't go down a significant amount more. And what I mean with that is, I often have a little saying with some of my friends, meaning, let's say a coin goes down 90%, right? You're thinking, you know what? It can't go down that much more, right? Untrue. Just like we saw with Luna, the moment it went down 99%, it went again down another 99%. And if you're shorting, that's the most amazing thing in the world, but you can't always be doing that. And I'll just say it like this, actually the conclusion of everything here. There are going to be chopping sessions in every bull market. Do I believe the bull market's over? No. no, there's 0%, in my opinion, right? This is my own opinion, not financial advice. I think there's a 0% chance we're done for. Mostly because in the background, the craziest things have just been announced. And I think it just takes a little bit of time for that to kick in. There have been some negative factors. Some people say, if the Bitcoin reserve does not come, if some numbers come out negatively, if they don't change some things in terms of rate cuts, let's call it, then the market is going to react negatively to it. Even now today, people are afraid of the Nvidia numbers. I'll just say this, short-term and long-term are two completely different games. If we're talking short-term, some of these things might chop, some of these things might hurt, sure. But I don't think any of those things can really change the outcome of the bull market. All it does is just move the timeline over a little bit. Just like how right now, there's so much fear in the market, man. It's really quite interesting to see, but then I keep thinking, didn't we also think this back in 2021? Didn't we also think about this back in 2017? All right, every single time there's a crazy raging bull market going on, you know what people always think? It's over. And it's mostly, actually most of the time, only when really people think it's never going to be over, that things end. But generally speaking, yes, we have gone up for a while. And my initial saying back in 2023, I believe, or 2022, something like that, I think 2023, was I'm going to start selling 1% of my portfolio every single day in 2025. Then later on, I changed that saying, it feels like it's too early. And now again, I'll say it kind of feels like April or so of 2024, where we also had some slight downwards for a couple of months now. When did we hit all-time high? Like January 19th or something like that, January 10th maybe of 2025. And afterwards, it's just been kind of like sideways and chopping for many altcoins. But it kind of feels as if this is what we might sustain for a little bit. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Maybe slightly downwards on the short term, I'm saying, right? But mostly still that upwards in check. Again, just giving it a little bit of patience. And the reason I'm saying that is because I just know this is not a financial advice still, but I just know if I ignore all these different people talking about why you should sell and just keep on buying religiously, I'll be fine. It's only if you get really, really scared in the short term and you start panicking or so that things will go wrong. But have we lost our conviction? No. Do we know that Bitcoin will succeed and the altcoins will follow? Yes. So then what is the conclusion? All we need to do is just ignore some of the crazier thoughts and, of course, relatively think, hey, am I actually not overdoing it? For example, if you're panicking right now, because I'm not, if you are panicking looking at your portfolio every single day, you might have too much in the industry. You might be riding on too much. You might be doing, you're risking it too far, so to speak. And that's the thing I think people will have to learn by force, by failing, is that if it's hurting you too bad, you're probably just making a mistake somewhere in your fundamentals. Because for me, even though I see my portfolio going down tremendously, for it to go up tremendously, I have to take these risks, if you guys get my drift. There will be no perfect trader. Nobody will buy the bottom perfectly and sell the top perfectly, and that's all you should be aiming for. In my opinion, all you should be aiming for is just seeing the longer path, understanding that this will come with chopping blocks, will come with a lot of sadness in terms of seeing your coins go down significantly. But that's also what makes it so beautiful. The fact that they can go down a lot also makes it so that they can go up a lot. And I think personally, if you just religiously buy these dips, for example, take a look at XRP, just to name one coin. It went down to what? Let's quickly see what it went down to just yesterday. It went down to 207 at least. Maybe it went down even lower. You guys can't see it. This is a CoinMarketCap chart. It's not that accurate. It's just to give you all some idea. Let's just say it went down to $2 or some platforms. You could have gotten a quick 15% bump or so, maybe even more, by just buying that bottom religiously, right? So even if you had some crazier positions open, most likely, this is all within the span of a week. It's a lot of volatility, sure, but that's also where a lot of the profit lies at. And probably tomorrow I'll start being back with some of the more regular uploads. I've been a little bit busy, but for the most part, I noticed a lot of people are asking, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? The main thing that's going on, I think, is that Trump is talking about tariffs. The general sentiment is just quite negative, quite bad, mostly because what is the next big thing to look forward to? And if there's no big thing to look forward to, people start panicking and thinking of these conspiracies, etc., especially if their altcoins are down a lot. Many memes are down like 80%, 95%. There's not as much hype in the industry as there was a while back. But again, I always think it's a matter of patience. I remember back in, let's just say, August or so of 2024, I also thought, oh man, when, and all of a sudden in November, you saw the crazy spike we saw for XRP, whereas April and forward, April to November, I guess, was just kind of negative times. It was a little bit of, you look at the market, think, sideways or kind of downwards on many coins, and I kind of think we might be in a similar situation, but it might end quicker because I still believe the end of the run is going to be maximum January 2026. but I don't believe the end is in just quite yet. I'm still holding all my coins. And if I had learned one thing throughout time, it's make sure you de-risk when things are doing really, really well. But I'd say take more risk when things are doing really, really bad. That's my personal thought on the matter. It's in hindsight, if I had to look back on times, if I had always just, whenever things are doing really, really well, just sold off good chunks, which I still do now. And that's why I always say whenever we open crazy positions, just scale out whenever things are doing really, really well. And then just buy, even though you think it's dumb because, oh, it could drop 4, just keep on buying as things go down, and usually you end up fine because the market doesn't stay down for that long, but you just gotta have the guts for it. But that's just my thoughts. Just wanted to quickly share them with y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed this little crypto update on what's going on, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video somewhere, probably later today, tomorrow, who knows. I'm gonna be enjoying the view here a little bit. Again, more than 100 floors up in the air in Hong Kong. You can't see it, it sucks. It's too bad, huh? Yeah, there's no better way for me to show it to you, I guess. But just know, it's interesting, all right? Sometimes I'm happy we have these opportunities. And again, this also, I guess, makes for y'all. If the market's doing you really, really bad, you're not loving it, take a little bit of time to enjoy the finer things and understand that a lot of what you're doing here is with a bigger goal in mind, right? And don't forget that bigger goal. Don't just keep looking at the numbers, only focusing in on it too much. Think about where you're headed, and I think you should all be fine. Anyway, if you're looking at a trade, long, short, whatever, do something crazy, I've got a link to 𝗏𝘁 down below. It's the platform I'm trading on. Still trading on it right now. We're not doing too well, but I think soon enough it will change over. Just give it a bit of time is what I always say. And we've seen it multiple times throughout time. It just keeps doing the exact same pattern. Yeah, this is my strategy. These are my thoughts. And that's about it.